What's happening, everybody? Here we are once again for Alex McCarthy's Wrestling Daily. And of course, we're fresh off the Wednesday Night Wars, another AEW show in the books, a hot show, a fine NXT Halloween Havoc too. So plenty to get into on that Wednesday night action. But it's that time of the week where I'm flanked by the one and only Stephanie Chase, the hot take queen herself, is back in the building. Oh, look at the fan!
Hello, Alex.
We're going to know that she's going to drop hot fire anytime the fan comes out. I can't wait. Steph, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm feeling very sparkly today. Happy Halloween, everyone. I know it's a couple of days early, but every day can be Halloween if you wish.
Yeah, absolutely it can. And let me tell you, I've spent my day at Peppa Pig World. And when
That's
I say
scary.
day, yeah, I mean like the day. I literally got home like half an hour ago, up to my eyes in Peppa Pig. I actually got tweeted today by Peppa Pig's official account, which I didn't even know was a thing, Steph. I didn't know that.
What was it about wrestling or just about stuff?
No, I tweeted that that I was going there, like a photo of the entrance. And then they tweeted me back saying, like, yeah, have a good time. And I didn't tag them or anything. They're just that Peppa Pig is out there vanity searching themselves.
Peppa Pig. Oh my God, what an egomaniac.
I know. Like 90 Shawn Michaels is Peppa Pig, apparently. Anyway, thanks for joining us, guys. Once again, let's get into the order of business. Your super chats are super welcome. It's been my favorite part of the show for the past since we've started, basically getting your hot takes and being able to get into the nitty gritty of your opinions. And who better than the hot take queen herself to take on what you've got to say today? So make sure you get them into us. Any amount, we'll get them read on screen. And of course, have you missed Wrestling Daily this week? Have you failed to catch up? Don't worry, because you can do so on podcasts with Spotify, Apple, Acast, all of the good ones. All of them, even the bad ones, probably. I don't know. We're there. You can get us on podcast. And of course, with Wrestle2, our home, please do subscribe, share, like, do all of that good stuff. Be the good eggs that I would love you to be. Before that, though, pressing on from that, Steph, let's get into the Wednesday nights, because that's why Steph's here. She's the queen of all things good on Wednesdays. So
Steph had to be here on a Thursday, believe me.
Yes, it was hard negotiated in the by Steph. Yeah, Louis was essentially put out to pasture on Thursdays as soon as Steph said, well, Thursday's my night. Let's talk about Wednesdays, man. AEW on paper looked like another great show. I'm very intrigued where they were going in terms of the tournament. And now, obviously, I know I'm getting Page and Omega, which is just so exciting. But let's talk about how we got there. Wardlow and Page and Omega and Pentagon.
I really loved Wardlow and Page. It was a really, really good match. And it was such a good example of letting a guy lose, but still, keeping him strong, because it took a lot to put away Wardlow, as it should. And I just felt like the result, Hangman Page, his time is now. Like he was in the first ever AEW championship match with Jericho. He lost. He moved on to the tag team with Kenny, but his time is now. And Wardlow is still cooking in the oven, but they're doing such a great job with him. He is like future top guy. And then you have all the MJF stuff, because MJF basically said that if Wardlow wins, he would have to hand over his championship match to him. But that didn't happen. But Wardlow is just so intriguing what they're doing with him, and it's such a just good example of really good booking of a young guy that is eventually going to be something huge for this company.
Yeah, I think Wardlow has got a ton of upside, and I really love it. Just simple things like this, Steph, that it took two buckshot lariats to put him away. Simple things that protect him and make him look like he's a big deal, even before he's potentially arrived as one. So I do like that very much. And the thing about, from the offset of this tournament, I wanted Omega and Page, right? That's what you wanted in the final. But I feel like, and we've said this a million times, even if you know what the destination is, if the story's good enough and it's done well enough, it doesn't matter that it's predictable. And I feel like this whole tournament has been done very well. Omega as well. Obviously, last week it was the quick squash, and this week not so much. And those different shades of Kenny Omega are important for people that are kind of I don't want to say getting on the bandwagon, but people are still waking up to Kenny Omega, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. There's people who just, didn't see Kenny's amazing New Japan run, and they just heard about him so much, and then he came into AEW, but he has kind of really taken a back seat in AEW in the first year of Dynamite, being like a tag team star instead of a single star. We get to fully see what Kenny can actually do as a singles performer, and I think we're getting there. Like that match last night was really good, and he came out in his AAA belt that we'd all forgot he had.
I totally forgot, to be honest. Just to be clear to anyone, watching right now, we will get to NXT. That is part of the show. But of course, we have to cover the ground that happened last night. And we just thought we'd start with AEW, because when we get to NXT, I've got a lot to say about Peter Dunne and so on. So please stay tuned. Sticking with AEW, we had Cassidy, Orange Cassidy for that matter. We had him challenging Cody Rhodes, and of course, Cody would come out on top, Steph. We've heard a lot about how, in terms of the ratings and things of that nature, that Orange Cassidy has become somebody, when they look into the data, he performs well for them. He's in their highest rated segments. People seem to tune in for him. But it's one of those as well where kind of the magic of his character, almost the allure of it, is less. Do you know what I mean? Like, less is more with Orange Cassidy sometimes. And now we've had him in quite a lot of title shots. And, since moving on from Jericho, could argue that he hasn't really moved, up a gear. He needs the next feud, is what I'm saying. What do you make of Orange Cassidy's trajectory? And, of course, the outing with Cody Rhodes last night?
I think Orange Cassidy is probably the hardest wrestler in the world to book, because given like what his gimmick was at the beginning, he didn't speak, nothing seemed to faze Orange Cassidy. Then when he had the feud with Jericho, we started seeing more that he could get angry, that he could be made to care about something. And then once the Jericho feud ended, which he won, it seemed like he reverted back to laid back Orange Cassidy guy. And you're kind of waiting for something to kind of simmer up in him. Honestly, I would have gone after the Jericho feud. I would have gone for an Orange Cassidy Brody Lee feud, because just the idea of this guy, Brody Lee, he's a cult leader. He's used to like sucking people in. People
I didn't know where you were going then, but sure, yeah.
Was that a hot take?
Wow. Not even 10 minutes deep here. Oh, wow.
But you've got that character of Brody Lee, and he's so dominant. And I thought, like, how would Brody Lee react to a guy that just doesn't care, like Orange Cassidy? So that's where I would have gone. But they went with Cody. The match last night, it was pretty good, but it wasn't Cody's best television outing match. And I think maybe the problem is that what Cody brings is this high drama, high emotion. And you get that when he takes on Brody Lee, and it's not the same when he takes on an Orange Cassidy. I think they just kind of had maybe just a bit of trouble finding the right kind of story direction in the match. And it was two faces as well, but it was still good. It was still a very good match.
I do think that Cody is like a super babyface, in my opinion. I know that they've been doing kind of different shades of the character and stuff like that, and they're walking down different directions on possibilities. But to me, like 12 to 6 months ago, like kind of pre-COVID, he was the hottest babyface in wrestling, not just AEW. Like, and
100%. No one makes me cry like Cody. No one makes me cry like Cody. Cody has made me cry more times as an adult than any other wrestler.
Yeah, I mean, I was there when him and Dustin tore it down at the first ever Double or Nothing, the first ever AEW show, in fact. And there wasn't a dry eye in the house that night either. Man, it's just electric stuff. Modern Mother, Lady Lou, she's not wrong. We need I'm a Good Egg shirt. Good eggs are always welcome around me. Always. Be a good egg. Come on now. Sticking with Cody for a second, I must say, the reason I make this segue is because now we know the Young Bucks and FTR are going to meet, and the stipulation is if the Young Bucks lose, they can't challenge for the tag titles again. I used Cody because a year ago at the same show, he had the exact same stipulation against Chris Jericho, where if he lost, he couldn't challenge for the world title. And of course, he did lose. I think some people, Cody kind of made that okay because of the passion and fire and stuff that he put into it, right? Like he sold it really well and it meant everything to him. Cool. I don't think FTR and Young Bucks needs this, Steph. I feel like the dream match sold itself.
Yeah.
I don't know if they really need all these layers and different concoctions and ways to. Maybe it makes it easier to or more palatable that Young Bucks win. Maybe I'm thinking, but at the same time, I just don't know if they needed all these tricks. You finally got the dream match that many people wanted for years. Did they really need to dress it up like this?
I don't think so. And I feel like it's like surely the Young Bucks are winning.
That's what I think. Right.
I mean, what are they going to do? Create like a light heavyweight tag team belt for the Young Bucks to go for if they lose? You know, it seems like that's a foregone conclusion. But then that kind of takes away from the excitement of the match. So I don't know where this stipulation has kind of come from or what it's actually going to lead to, because surely it can't just lead to Young Bucks win and they carry on as the Young Bucks. Like it was a very strange, unexpected addition to this match. That this feud's been really interesting because it's like this feud was built up before FTR ever got to AEW. That all happened before. And then once they got to AEW, it was like a stalling tactic to actually get to them having a match. And now we're here at the match and things have got a bit convoluted, that it seems almost like we've kind of forgotten the original beef, because then they've done all the stuff with the Young Bucks where they've been heelish, but then they're not really heels because they were attacked the other week. It is confusing. But this match, like, this is a lot to live up to, because this is a Twitter-made dream match that we've been waiting like years for.
Like, I love stakes in matches. I just thought there was enough already. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if we need the added drama of, oh my God, the Young Bucks might not get the tag titles again. One more thing on AEW before we talk about a fantastic Halloween Havoc show. And we will get there, guys. MJF, Chris Jericho. Okay. We waxed lyrical about this last week, rightly so, because it was sensational, and it is probably what if it wasn't for Roman Reigns and Jey Uso tearing it apart, or Roman character full stop, I'd probably say it's my favorite story going at the moment.
I'd say it is my favorite.
Say that again.
It is my favorite.
God damn it. No, but I love it though, and I do think it's very interesting this direction that they're going, because MJF has essentially been offered the opportunity to get into the Inner Circle. To do so, he has to defeat Chris Jericho at Full Gear. Lots of speculation of what that could possibly lead to. Is it going to be Chris Jericho getting overthrown as the leader of the Inner Circle? Is it going to, because people think a Chris Jericho babyface run, it has to be in the near future. It's inevitable. So what do you think's going on, Steph? And did you like this turn? Do you like this added narrative?
Yeah, firstly, I really liked the town hall segment. I thought it was really good. It was a really good example of how great a talker MJF was. He took those questions really well, and great surprise appearance from Eric Bischoff. Was not expecting that. That was very cool. Yes. But the other thing I wasn't expecting was for us to be getting a Chris Jericho versus MJF match in just over a week. Right. I thought that was going to be a long build thing. But what is it leading to? I think it's leading to MJF wins, and he is taken into the Inner Circle. And then we have months of tension being brought up because Sammy does not want MJF in the Inner Circle at all. Sammy is jealous of the attention that MJF's getting from Jericho. It's a bit like a story that's currently happening on Emmerdale, where this girl, Gabby, trying to split up her boss's relationship because she wants all the attention from her boss.
You cannot bring Emmerdale onto this show. You can't make that.
I have to watch it occasionally for work purposes.
I love to think that Tony Khan sat in a meeting and he went, no, listen, guys, hear me out. I've just seen this thing playing out on Emmerdale. We need that. That's what we need.
Look, if Tony Khan can watch Fulham matches, I'm sure he sometimes puts on Emmerdale.
Oh, where's that fan, Steph? Close yourself down.
Tony Khan loves Emmerdale. You heard it here first. But yeah, so I think that Sammy's got that kind of jealousy because Sammy was Chris's like little protege. Yes. Now MJF has come, and MJF has all the money and the status. MJF is like a more fully formed figure that kind of doesn't need Jericho to like drag him up the way Sammy did. So MJF, I can see why Sammy would be very jealous. So yes, I think that MJF will beat Jericho, and I think the tension will be that Jericho will never get over the fact that he's been beaten by MJF, and he'll be kind of embarrassed and resentful of him, though, you know, he'll say good for you, but there'll be that resentment. And Sammy will be in his ear being like, get this guy out of here. Now, whether this leads to Jericho being toppled as the leader of the Inner Circle or not, I'm not sure, but I don't see that happening for another while. I think that this is match one in what will be a long Jericho MJF feud, and maybe in a year or so we'll be back here talking about Jericho versus MJF. This time it's war.
Yeah, I hope this story just like manifests. It just keeps going and going, and this is just the first kind of jolt in it. Yeah. And yeah, I want to see the dynamic with all of them in the Inner Circle, and like you said, kind of Sammy and Chris, kind of Jake Hager probably not knowing what to do.
Like, I just came back from a Bellator fight. What's happened?
Yeah. What happened, guys? So let's get to our first super chat. But before we do that, CM Chris says, I hope Stephanie comes back more. I love her. CM Chris, you're not alone, my friend. Yeah, exactly. And you can get her every Thursday right here, by the way. So if you ever want your fix of the Hot Take Queen, Thursdays is your night. Moving on to our first super chat is from our good friend Bo Hill. Thank you very much, Bo. Possibly a hot take. Io Shirai is the best wrestler on the planet. Full stop. And I'm assuming, Steph, he means irregardless of gender. Irregardless is a terrible word. I could have just said regardless. Listen, Io Shirai, no question in my mind that she's one of the very best performers on the planet. Is she the best? And is she in that discussion, Steph? Please pontificate for us.
No, she's not the best wrestler on the planet, but each to their own. If she is your best wrestler on the planet, then that's amazing. I think she's the best wrestler in NXT, though. I would go that far.
Right. Okay.
I think she absolutely is. I mean, she's incredible. She's incredible last night. We'll get to that match. But best wrestler on the planet, I'm going to say no, but I love the fact that Bo thinks Io Shirai is the best wrestler on the planet, because the idea of a female wrestler being the best wrestler on the planet in 2020 is awesome.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And I know this is really hard to ask you to, on the spot, but is Io Shirai top 5 females in the world right now?
Yes. I'd put her in there.
I think so. I'm hard pushed, for someone to strike me. Like, obviously, you'd put Sasha and Bailey probably in there right now as well. But I'm hard pushed to be like, oh man, you know what I mean? Like, she's immediately someone who's in my mind frame of that top 5.
And Io's in WWE in their women's division. It really is just so incredible that it's hard.
Yeah, I imagine the day she comes up, I mean, if it's anything but spectacular, then they've had an absolute stinker. Like, there are some talents like that really it's criminal if it's anything but fantastic. And I say that as if WWE won't get it wrong, but they might. They really might. We've got another not hot take, sorry. We've got another super chat from Abnav. Hot take: Cody has the best entrance right now. Great suits. I kind of love the presentation of Cody anyway. and I always have since AEW. I certainly didn't love Stardust, but Cody Rhodes, I feel like the way he carries himself, I believe he's one of the best, and I like the confidence and what's the word that I'm looking for here? It's like almost like wrestling kind of like comes out of his pores. That's really hard to explain, but I feel it when he's walking down there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he has like a legitimacy to him, and the entrance that he has, even his entrance music, that is all basically about like wrestling. Wrestling has more than one royal family. Like that is so cool. I just love that, and that's the whole real life Cody situation of being Dusty's son and everything with that family is like so important to his character. His entrance is so grand. He goes so over the top. I think Kenny might be coming for him a little bit in the over the top entrance area, but
yeah, just a bit.
I love a dramatic entrance. Right now, I'd say Cody is one of the top 5 entrances. Another person that has a great entrance right now is Evil, because it's just goth-tastic, as I like to say.
Goth-tastic, of course.
Goth-tastic, yeah. So I love a good dramatic entrance for sure.
I do feel that if Cody does not make his way back to the world title picture, especially when fans are around, if they don't find a way to factor that in, I really think that would be a missed opportunity. Because I just feel like he's the strongest babyface that people feel something for in the business today. So I think I kind of get from his perspective why he did that angle, though. You know what I mean? Like, and he's doing great things with the TNT title, but I'm just being selfish, Steph.
I think like it feels like at the beginning of AEW, if you take Cody, Kenny, and the Young Bucks and you look at everything they did, there was like they're all being selfless instead of selfish. It's like we're all like, okay, I don't want people to think that we're just booking ourselves at the top. So I'm not going to challenge for the world title. We're not going to have the tag team title.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do a singles wrestling. I'm going to join a tag team. And I think that's all lovely, but we may have missed out on some greatness that hopefully we're going to get later. And a Cody singles title one, I would love.
Yeah, you got to play to your strengths, right? I get what they're doing, but at the same time, play to your strong suits. CM Chris back again with another super chat saying, hot take, Kenny Omega's has the best meme entrance ever. Hashtag Tina, hashtag battle cry. Steph, where do you sit on that?
It's pretty memeable. Kenny did a lot of memeable things like throughout his career though.
yeah, of course. That wasn't half as good as Kenny, but still. Yeah. I love the layers that are peeling back of Kenny very, very much. We must move on to Halloween Havoc. I feel that this is a show that there are some spots here that really do deserve some love. So we must celebrate NXT here on WrestleTalk or Wrestle 2. We must start with Pete Dunne, right?
Yeah. You see that coming.
I mean, God, he looks jacked. Like I've said it like 5 times now, but every time I see him on screen, I look at him and I think, God, like what happened to like the dad bod leotard guy? Where is he? Like he is jacked.
He heard you calling him a dad bod leotard guy, and
yeah. I mean, I hope he doesn't. I mean, I like my fingers the way they are, but no, man, he is. He's in insane shape, and really, like, it kind of helps the aura of how dangerous he is. I think with his new shape, like people seem to be taking him a lot more seriously. I liked the idea of like him backing up Kyle O'Reilly for a second. Like I was into it, and then I was also like, oh, you know, actually Pete Dunne versus Kyle O'Reilly, that's very interesting too. And then now when you realize what time of year it is, we've got Undisputed Era, we've got Pat McAfee's like super group that he's made out of nowhere of Pete Dunne, Oney Lorcan, and Danny Burch.
I'm trying to think of a faction name.
Yeah, no, they are just like Pat McAfee's group. Like that's their name. And man, that seems to be where we're going. And when I actually look at it though, Undisputed Era and Only Lorcan and Danny Burch, they've had amazing chemistry together the times that they've met in the ring. Pete Dunne has amazing chemistry with all of the Undisputed Era. Pat McAfee is like that exciting intangible because you've seen a little bit of what he's got and it was kind of impressive, but you want to know how far that can go.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Really impressive.
Yeah, undeniable. And now you put him in a situation like War Games and it's like, hang on, what are we going to get here? So what did you make of how it was executed and where we're going?
I think the Undisputed Era, like for a long time, they've really been crying out for another faction to go against in NXT, and it's kind of it almost felt a few months ago like, have they run their course? And then this is definitely going to bring new life into them. I think it was like executed really well. I didn't see Pete Dunne coming, so I always love it when I don't see something coming. But Pat McAfee as a mouthpiece and then wrestling as well. I can't believe I'm so high on Pat McAfee.
I know.
It's like when they first did the Pat McAfee thing, and I think it's because we're not Americans, so we don't know Pat McAfee like very well. Like, to me, it's like,
full transparency, I didn't know who he was until he was doing like the pre-show stuff.
Yeah, me neither. So it's like, who's this guy? Like, I always feel like, why are we being subjected to another celebrity? And then he just comes out and does this amazing performance. And then he turns out to be like a better promo guy than 99% of the roster.
Yeah, maybe more than that. Like,
yeah,
he is excellent on the microphone.
He is. So I think this is really exciting. And I don't know whether this is where they were originally going with the injuries that have happened, but they certainly found a way to make it all make sense to us.
Yeah.
So,
and I like it because, of course, Pete has history of being turned on by Roderick Strong. I was there in the arena that night, and it was like amazing.
So much, Alex.
I know. I mean, I just get about, Steph. What do you want? What do you want from me? All right, I'll always drop it in there. Oh, and I was there. So yeah, again, I think it was Roddy Strong that turned on him that night in New Orleans, and it was just like so. In a way, that story really is great. I assume Ridge Holland was meant for that spot. Really sad what's happened to him, and obviously wish him the best in his recovery because that's a horrible injury to get. Really is. Yeah. But man, I think they've pivoted really well. Glad to see Pete back stateside because things were rolling for him before all of this COVID nonsense came out. Well, it's not nonsense, it's very real, but before this constant COVID stuff started to happen. So, man,
he must be thrilled because he's probably been sitting, I was going to say he's been sitting twiddling his thumbs, but no, Pete with the thumbs.
Yeah, twiddling gigantic weights, apparently. Let's say about the next thing on Halloween Havoc that was great. Johnny Gargano and Damian Priest hooked it up again. They seem to me like guys that get better with each other the more they wrestle each other. And for Gargano, 2-time North American champion now, and he hates wheels. So, I mean, he's very entertaining right now. Steph, what are you making of that? And I guess the Gargano way as a whole, because Triple H has said that there's a lot more in store for him, and it looks like he's just given him some more legs.
Yeah, I thought this match was really good. I was surprised and kind of sad that they took the title off Damian Priest. I don't think he could have got like a bigger run with it because he's really shown a lot during this run that I wasn't too sure that he had in him before, but he's really grown as a performer. But Gargano, this is a great direction for Gargano. I love everything he's doing at the minute. I love everything he's doing with Candice. Who would have thought that he'd been so good at this with, he was such a great baby face before that. It's amazing how he's adapted to this, and it's great. And I hope these two continue their feud because they do work really well together. And as you said, they keep getting better.
I am going to come back to Halloween Havoc because there is still some good stuff on that card. And I do think it was one of the best Wednesday nights for NXT in a long time, actually. All things considered. Very, very good stuff from NXT. But there is breaking news, as we see here. Rampage Brown making his way to NXT UK. I did see something go out about this, and I had heard rumors not long ago. He was on my TalkSport radio show a few months ago. And I think this is going to be pretty similar to the recent signing they made with Miko, because Satomura, sorry, because I just said Miko as if everyone should know who that is, because he's also like a really renowned coach around the UK and Europe, and I believe that he'll be going there and doing the same role that she is, which is performer / coach. So in my opinion, that's two amazingly smart pickups from NXT UK. They've got a ton of other guys coming in that inside the ropes. Reported Gary Cassidy, our good friend, a few months ago, that Adam Maxted for one, who, if you hadn't seen him on Love Island, the guy's like 6'5", jacked, athletic. You'd go, wow, he's got like the blank canvas that you would want. So there's a lot of exciting things coming into NXT UK, and it's great that they've replenished the roster like that, I think, Steph.
Yeah, I think it's really good to see some new names get in there. And I think, someone like Rampage Brown is going to be great as well. It's good that they're kind of investing in the talent that way to give them that kind of coach person right in there with them that can help them develop, because sometimes it feels like it's all being done via satellite.
Yes.
With, Shawn Michaels,
Voice of God.
Not that I'd have any problem with Shawn Michaels zooming me to tell me what to do, but it would be nice to have someone in person. So it's great that they're doing that, and they're bringing more people onto the roster. The only thing I feel like the roster is getting quite full right now, isn't it? Considering like the amount of TV time they have.
Hour shows, right?
Yeah.
You're asking a lot. Saying that, I remember speaking to Jimmy Havoc, kind of I know it's not the most popular name now, but this was months and months ago when he'd first signed for AEW, and I said to him, I asked him if there was anyone that AEW should sign, who would it be? And that was the first name that he said was Rampage Brown. He feels like a guy that should have had a spot in a promotion like this a long time ago. So very happy. Congratulations, Rampage. Good moves for NXT UK. Let's pivot back to Halloween Havoc, though, away from that exciting news. I think the main event is probably the next place we want to touch on, because Io Shirai, our friend that we've already spoken about tonight, and Candice LeRae, they put on another great match. Like, they're another pair, right, where the chemistry is just there. They can't have a bad match if they tried. And as you said to me before we come on air, Steph, the bump at the end for Candice, man, both ladies really left it all out there.
I know. Candice is such a bump taker, isn't she? That's what I love about Candice, because she's this, little undersized blonde woman that will just take any bump. She's like a female Jeff Hardy or something.
Yeah. It actually reminds me a little bit the way she throws herself into stuff, like Sasha. Like, you know what I mean? Like the way it's like they throw themselves fully into what they do.
Yeah. With her, character change with Johnny and everything, she's thrown herself 100% into that whole storyline. Like, she's willing to change her look, everything. And that match was fantastic. That's been one of the best NXT matches in a while, I think. And
I think to round off the card, and I said this to you beforehand, I was surprised that Rhea Ripley and Raquel Gonzalez was done this early. I thought that they really could have built to this. I know these two are very close friends in real life, and you have to hope that there isn't they're not just getting it out of the way, that maybe there's something longer in play. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. What did you make of their first time clash in NXT?
I really enjoyed it. I think Raquel Gonzalez looked really, really good. I think she's really improved from the first time we saw her. Rhea, doesn't Rhea just feel like the forgotten woman, though? It's really hard to think of, she had a WrestleMania match with Charlotte. And
this year.
Yeah. And I just think, as you said, I hope this is only the beginning, or are they getting it out of the way? And I mean, part of me just thought, is it because they've just kind of sidelined Rhea so much that they're like, just put this match on? It's, it's just the booking of her has been probably one of their biggest disasters this year, really, hasn't it? Because she was absolutely on fire until the whole Charlotte coming down thing happened. And it's like, I don't know. She feels someone that's been left behind at high school when she should have graduated.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird.
I think, so when Triple H said, oh, there'll be a plan and it'll mean something. And I felt okay about it, because at the end of the day, there's no shame in losing to Charlotte Flair, who is one of the, the top booked or best performers in WWE, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not going to hurt a 23-year-old Rhea Ripley. And if there's a direction, and then I believe Shirai pinned Rhea. She didn't even pin Charlotte to win the title. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, well, where is the story then? Like, that's what bugged me about the thing.
Do you feel like Triple H lied to you?
I do a little bit, yeah.
You believed in him? You believed that he had a plan?
First time he's had me over, to be honest. But
to be fair, though, Triple H very well could have had a plan, and because Charlotte was in the mix, like how it often does happen with the main roster, Triple H's plans just got totally ruined by his father-in-law, and he just had to go with it. So
yeah, you can't argue with that. I must say, Rob Bombi here, there's 2 super chats. There are 2 super chats waiting for me to talk about, but I just wanted to get Halloween Havoc out of the way, because I feel like we're never going to do it otherwise. So I promise, after we wrap up this card, we will do those super chats.
I must say, special shout out to Shotzi Blackheart for being an amazing host, having fantastic costumes, and even getting involved in the main event.
Yes. No, I'm glad she did as well, I'm glad it was more than just like, oh, here's a Halloween thing and Shotzi Blackheart's the host. Like,
yeah, I think they've got a lot invested in her. I think they're really behind her, and she's such an interesting, unique character, and it was just cool to see her in that role last night.
Speaking of people being invested, I know Triple H is like super high on Ilya Dragunov. That's going down right now. Dragunov and Volta with a V, guys. Who do you think, Steph? Do you think it's time?
Oh, no one can beat Volta.
It's so hard, isn't it? I want to see Volta slapping Rampage Brown's chest. That's what I want to see on WWE television. It will happen. Just to round off Halloween Havoc, of course, we've got Dexter Lumis and Cameron Grimes to the moon. And he, unfortunately, Cameron is not going to the moon because he tapped out. Well, let's say he tapped out. He was subbed to Dexter Lumis. And then, of course, we got the 3-minute match between Santos Escobar going over Jake Atlas as well. I guess something had to make way time-wise, but yeah. The other matches, the opener was over 20 minutes, and then the others were like in and around 15. So I'm not going to complain too hard. I felt like they hit the high notes that they should have done. NXT. I might argue, and I know Steph is probably going to hit me down here, but I would argue that maybe NXT had the better week for once.
No. No, that sounded bad. NXT had a really, really good week, but I think the matches, the women's match was so good, but AEW as a whole, I think, was better. I think if they had replaced Cameron Grimes and Dexter Lumis with literally anything else, they may have been in with a shot of winning. But I got to give it to AEW, especially because of Wardlow and Hangman Page. Yeah,
no, I understand. Like most weeks, I'd say that AEW is a better, I think it's just to my taste, wrestling show. Even though, again, I've said this many times, I think takeovers are the best show. But in terms of a week-to-week wrestling show, it's actually a different thing, and Dynamite does it well. It says something, I guess, that WWE had to put on something the caliber of Halloween Havoc to kind of rival what Dynamite's doing.
But this is what NXT, they keep doing. They keep bringing out these little weekly gimmicks every couple of months, and I just kind of wonder, like, how long
is that sustainable? I hear you. I hear what you're saying.
The Halloween thing was cool, and I think, but I wonder really if you're a fan that's trying to decide what to watch, how much of a difference does a Halloween theme make to you if you can't make your mind up?
Yeah. That's a very valid point. And that's why you're here, Steph. That's what we bring you to the dance for. Let's get to those super chats that I promised we would. Let's start with Matty. And he says, Pat McAfee is the best celeb wrestler in ages. Matty, the Scot, my friend. Yeah. I mean, in a lot of ways, he is what he's shown thus far in terms of his in-ring credentials. And as I've said on the microphone, I'm so impressed with him. Like, he literally doesn't miss at all. He's like, he doesn't miss a beat. Let's look at other celebs that have been here lately.
Yeah, I was going to say, name another good celeb wrestler.
Yeah, I mean, the name Tyson Fury is great. The in-ring performer it wasn't. Like, you know, I really hate to kind of be like that, because obviously he has very limited training, and he's in there with, like, there's something to be in there with Adam Cole and being in there with Braun Strowman as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to kind of you do have to cut him some slack, I think. But at the same time, he did look really awkward in the ring. Like, you know, it just didn't.
That's just the thing about Tyson Fury is, like, that's just purely for the name Tyson Fury. And I know we talked about how we didn't know who Pat McAfee was, but it's not as if Pat McAfee in America is a huge name either. Like, he's known, but he's not huge. So someone like McAfee, it's more, can we actually get him to wrestle and can we actually get him to talk? Then with Tyson Fury, it's just like, throw Tyson Fury out there and tell everyone it's Tyson Fury, and people will say,
watch,
Tyson Fury. You know,
people will tune in, right? They will, just because it's Tyson Fury.
Another good celeb recently, probably Stephen Amell from Arrow. He did a pretty good job. Awesome. Yeah, he did. I'm trying to think of any other good celebs in recent years, and I can't. I think we have to go back.
I mean, he wasn't a wrestler, but Jon Stewart rushes to mind. I was furious.
I loved when
I knew you would. I knew you would.
He is a wonderful looking older man.
No, that I will grant you. He has weathered well. All right.
Indeed.
He has done. This is going to be a really hard one to do. Matty also says, rank the Sasha Bailey matches from worst to best. Come on, man. That is tough stuff. I'll let you.
I go first. Like you're being shameless.
I was just about to defer to you. I was like, yeah, Steph can take this one.
Right. So what have we got? We've got the Hell in a Cell
takeover.
Takeover.
The Iron Man Woman Iron match.
Yeah.
I think
they all have their own little
narratives
in history as well, because they all, it's like the takeover match was so special, and the whole story just of women, the women's evolution and what NXT did for women and all this and all that kind of stuff. And then the Iron Woman match was just like a great example then of how great women's wrestling had got through NXT and through the work of Sasha and Bailey, and it was like them demonstrating it. And then the match we just got at Hell in a Cell,
so good.
It was so good, and they both just worked it so perfectly, because I know we talked about this before, and I wanted them to wait to WrestleMania, and I was saying like, yeah, they'll wait till WrestleMania, and then like a week later they split up.
Yeah.
But they did it so well, and it was the match worthy of being in the Hell in a Cell, which these days few Hell in a Cell matches are. And even though that Roman match was so good, it really stole the show.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I feel like almost people are now. This is how good Sasha and Bailey in the Cell were. That people are actually like, yeah, Roman and Jay weren't that great. It really was. It was great, right? It's just, but you know, the action is totally different. There's one that was story laden and driven like really hard, and the other one was kind of told through the action, and amazing action at that. I think if you put me on the spot, you've paid your hard-earned money, so I'm going to tell you. Takeover is one. That's the top one.
Okay.
That's the best for me. I just feel like that carries a certain significance with it as well. Like that opened a lot of eyes. Not only was it amazing in the story, and the finishing sequence in that match is so, trying hard not to swear, so amazing, right? With the reverse Frankensteiner and stuff, and then the way Bailey gets up and she like does her hair, and you're like, oh shit, I just did it. You're like, oh man, she's gonna, and she hits the Bailey's back. It's just the sequence is the best. I loved it. Hell in a Cell, I think, is second by like that, because I really think it was so amazing. I think if Takeover hadn't have, if we didn't already look at Takeover as the greatest women's match ever, I honestly think people would be talking about this Hell in a Cell. They'd be going, we've just seen the best women's match ever. So those two are literally like, to me, that's the two best women's matches I've ever seen. So it's hard to pick. and by default, I guess the Iron Woman match falls third. But again, I really wouldn't want that to sound, you know, what I mean? Like, oh, it's last. Yeah. You know, it's last, but still probably like one of the best of its generation too. So, man, that's hard. Steph, you got any changes to that?
I think I'd put the Hell in a Cell one first, but I don't know.
I was so tempted to. Yeah.
So I would say the best thing to do is to just watch the three of them in chronological order, because the development that you're going to see, and you know, Bayley, that the character change that Bayley has gone through is one of the most amazing things that's happened over the last 2 years or so, because who would have ever thought that happy ponytail, you know, Bayley would turn into who she is now? And it's not me at all. And you see Bayley in NXT, and then she was this great, like, to me, Bayley was the first character that WWE ever marketed to young girls, which I thought was amazing. As someone who was once a very young girl that watched wrestling, like, I couldn't believe how great this character was, and how it was just for young girls. Nothing ever is in wrestling.
Yeah, and we in the UK like fully embraced Bayley. Like, have you been at shows when she used to wrestle? It was deafening.
Yeah, and then it just felt like they missed the boat on her so much in the main roster. But who would have thought that turning her to the dark side would make her even better?
Yeah.
I mean, where's she going to go next?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, right? Like, and there's some superstars like that. Like, I always thought Candice LeRae was like a true baby face, and Kofi, I guess, and all of them have done so great to turn it around. We have to get some more super chats here. Bo Hill is back, and he says nuclear take. Wow, I mean, if you're going to come at Steph with a take, it better be nuclear. During Attitude and Ruthless Aggression era, Sanity would have ended up as a top 3 faction of all time. Cross gave them something nobody else did.
Never did I think I'd be hearing about Sanity.
Again, man. Do you know what? I've spoke to various members of Sanity, and all of them are kind of perplexed of why it didn't work out on the main roster. Like, we all know they were basically called up without a plan. Mm-hmm. But like, normally there's something. Like, they, you know, like that, or they will have had a plan and things changed. It doesn't even seem like that was the case. They were just literally brought up.
It was that weird period where they brought up lots of people for no reason. Weren't they in the same bring up as like Lacey Evans and EC3 that was doing videos in a mirror and stuff, and they were just here, and that was it.
I still don't understand the whole EC3 thing. I mean, that's another topic, but I don't. Bless that man. He got dealt a bad hand. Yeah. Top 3 all time. I mean, I think that's a bit strong. Whatever era. You know, I'm looking at DX, MWO, 4 Horsemen, Evolution, Shield, New Day,
Undisputed Era.
Yeah, I mean, could you say the 4 Horsewomen?
No, they would never.
Probably not. That'd be like saying the Click, I guess. But top 3 is strong. I would love to be proven wrong, though, because I do think they had a ton of talent. And like you said, the dynamic with Nikki in there was amazing. And I think anyone who watched NXT around that time, when the Sanity went up, Nikki then became like a really big star, and she was big in that Aleister Black Gargano storyline. You remember the mystery? Yeah. And it feels like they kind of wasted that a little bit on the main roster, but I might be wrong. I don't think top 3 all time, but you're right. They deserved a lot more of a chance, wouldn't you say, Steph?
Absolutely, but at least they're not being booked as badly as Retribution.
I don't know if I have the time. I really don't. Like, this stream might stretch into like 4 days.
At least they're not doing the worst attempted hostile takeover of a.
The worst thing is that they gave me hope. Like, when they put Ali in it, I was like, oh, you know what? I really wanted some good things to happen to Ali. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad that they've given him something. I wish they hadn't, because now he's just looking weaker than ever. He's the worst leader. Like, imagine that. They were stronger before their leader was revealed. Now they're weaker than ever. They're losing matches left. I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop, because I'll get carried away. George Yamin, he's been another regular super chatter. George, we appreciate you, brother. Should Gable join Seth? I'd be there for it, as long as he was taken seriously and it's Chad Gable, the wrestling machine that he really is. Fine. I have a feeling that they'll let him find his feet on his own, though. Steph, what do you think?
No, Gable should join AEW. I think that's his only hope, because what they've done to him is criminal. Really. And also, he's one of these. I think, if it's in Vince's head that he's Shorty G, Chad Gable, that's all he's ever going to be.
That's what he is.
And do I want to see him be a sidekick to Seth Rollins? No. So yeah, I think the only hope for Chad Gable is moving on to other pastures.
I mean, the thing that I want to state with Chad Gable there, and I'm sure Steph means this as well, like he is insanely talented. Like, let's not get it twisted. It's not his fault.
No.
That he's been saddled with these terrible gimmicks, because he is insanely good inside the ropes.
It's just such a example of taking a guy that's just such a amazingly skilled wrestler and it just being completely overlooked. And there's so much you could have done with him. And the Shorty G thing is, we're gonna have a great time making a list of like worst gimmicks of the past 5 years or something.
Injections. 2K says they took Matt Riddle. I mean, the grammar here is they took the Matt out of Riddle of the roster page. I'm assuming you're saying Matt Riddle has been taken off WWE's roster page. Thank you very much. I thought
he was saying they took his first name away.
They put. Okay, that's very interesting. I hadn't seen that Injection 2K. I'm tempted.
Clarify your comment.
Yeah. Sorry for dumping on your grammar when it turned out my comprehension is terrible. I am going to look that up this actual second. If they just called him Riddle, that would be a bit
very WWE.
It would. It would. But I don't think that will help him. To be honest, and I was saying this the other day to someone, I feel like Lars Sullivan, Matt Riddle, Velveteen Dream, all of the people in that space right now, nobody wants to cheer for them. Nobody wants to see them succeed. Nobody's prepared to get behind them. And I feel like WWE need to kind of like accept that and stop this whole, again,
it's not as if any of them none of them are currently being booked well. So I almost feel like they are kind of aware of that
But Riddle's still a babyface, which is weird. Like, do you know what I mean? They're still trying to get sympathy on him and stuff. And I just think
they've done the weirdest things with Riddle, considering everything else. It's it's pretty clueless.
And the thing is, I actually thought like a year ago that Matt Riddle and Velveteen Dream were the two biggest prospects that NXT had that could possibly go up to the main roster. No, Matt Riddle is still Matt Riddle on WWE.com for the record. So don't know who supplied you with that info, my friend, but there we go. I'm glad we could clear it up for you. Do you know what? We haven't even really gotten into any news today, Steph. So we better use the BSometer before time runs out. Let's touch on Kylie Ray, because a lot of people are saying stuff, and I don't think anyone really knows truthfully or wholeheartedly. So let's see. Fightful had an update on Kylie Ray. Impact hope to have her back as soon as she's able. There's no heat on her for no showing Bound for Glory, and storyline possibilities were left open for her at this week's taping. Earlier in the week, Wrestling Observer Radio reported Ray was physically fine when officials finally reached her after Saturday's pay-per-view. Talent Fightful spoke to for their report hadn't heard from her since before Bound for Glory. Again, it's a lot of retrospective reporting. Like, nobody still really knows what happened, and if they did, I guess they're trying to respect Kylie's privacy on this matter. Is this kind of one that they should just leave alone?
Yeah, I think this is a personal thing that's for Kylie to deal with. So, yeah, I don't think any speculation is really fair to her.
So we're not saying it's BS per se, but we're saying that they shouldn't really be. At this point, is it really worth like digging deeper and deeper? Like, it's clearly a personal issue.
Yeah.
Right. That's what they get. That is what they get. I'm seeing in the comments that people are saying check PW Insider. I literally just went to WWE.com on the roster page and it was Matt Riddle. So I don't know. Saying that, I wouldn't go against Mike Johnson, who's insanely reliable. So maybe there's something to it. But I'm in the middle of a stream and I don't have the right people I can ask right now. So please give me a chance. But I will come back to that. Thank you very much. Very interesting. I really hope they haven't done that. I think that sucks if they call him Riddle. Like, what are they going to do? Have him come down in like full Riddle? You know what I mean? Like question marks everywhere.
Yeah, I was going to say like Riddle. I mean, I know it's his name, but Riddle, it's kind of silly on its own. I mean, fair enough if you're called Matt Riddle, but like just Riddle is kind of silly. And I mean, the way that they have completely exhausted the bro thing, imagine how they could exhaust Riddles.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to remember as well, the original bro is actually like a pretty good popular gimmick, but it won't be now. So that's the problem there.
Let's make him a bro. Let's make him a Riddler.
Yeah, well, people don't like him anymore. So
how do you unravel the riddle of Matt Riddle?
Oh my god,
pretty bad as well.
Apparently, as well, according to Dave Meltzer, WWE is going to be calling AJ Styles' new bodyguard Jordan Omobihin, I believe that's how you say it, the Associate. What do you make of that, Steph? Is that just a way to not have to say his surname on commentary every week?
I think what a creative name. How long did it take them to come up with that one?
The Associate. Like
the Associate. Good for him. Can't really see that coming on a t-shirt anytime soon, or can't imagine people holding up the Associate signs or chanting the Associate.
Yeah, main eventer, the Associate. Like,
do you think he'll graduate to having an actual name? Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to hope, right? Like, it's not going to be like because Diesel. All right, Diesel would probably be a bit of a sucky name today, but at the time when him and Shawn Michaels were going, it was kind of a cool name for a big, good-looking dude. And when the eventual split came, it was great. But now, if it'd be like, oh, and you know, the Associate's had enough.
I'll tell you, what's a good name for a big, good-looking dude is Wardlow.
Yes, there you go. Actually, that is right. Although saying that, I think Jordan Omobihin is like 2 Wardlows. He's huge. He is enormous.
How much does this guy weigh?
Yeah, these are all valid questions, Steph. Man, either way, like, I'm kind of stoked because I think Styles will do something great.
He's gonna learn. He's gonna. Yeah. He's got a great learning tree to sit under. So good for him.
Like, yeah, if anything, if they just given him a name and tried to let him swim in the ring, like, at least they've put him under one of the best learning trees they possibly could. Like, a rare masterstroke, I would say, in that regard. We're entering the final few minutes here, so I don't think we even have time, man, for some of the hot takes. I'm going to make time. We're going to go over by a minute or so. Let's just have one hot take, Steph. How about that?
Let's go for it.
What would you say if I told you that 2020 was actually one of the best years for professional wrestling? You had the Rumble with Edge returning, you had the Lesnar-McIntyre going on throughout the whole match, and then you've proven throughout the whole year that while it might not have always been the smartest decision, wrestling as a whole in Japan and America can continue during a global pandemic.
Big Berg, thanks for that, my friend. Steph, what do you think?
I actually think he's kind of right. I mean, 2024 wrestling has been pretty good, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I think because I'm at the point where I'm sick of when people review matches saying, if only there was a crowd there. Yes, if only there was a crowd there for everything, but there's not.
And if my auntie had a set of something, she would be my uncle. So, you know what I mean? Like, you can't have all these if, ands, buts, and maybes. But I think he's got some points. Like the character work we saw from Roman and Jay, by the way, in their feud, you wouldn't have got if there was fans, because you wouldn't have been able to hear what was going on.
Yeah. I think it's teaching wrestlers to think about kind of little nuances more in the ring, and instead of you know, like just knowing that everything's going to be heard more and like what more character stuff they can do. But also this year, we've had some really memorable matches that we'll never forget, like for good or for bad. Like 2020, I mean, for bad, I will never forget the Firefly Funhouse, sadly. But for good, but I'll never forget the wonderful Stadium Stampede. So 2020 has been pretty good. And with the whole wrestling continuing thing, maybe it wasn't the best decision, but isn't it amazing that out of everything, all the sports, TV shows, soaps, music, everything, wrestling is the thing that continued.
That's right. Wrestling is unkillable.
It's like when people don't, you know, understand wrestling or like, who watched wrestling? I'm like, wrestling is the one thing that's still continued in 2020. Like, that's amazing. Wrestling's very important.
Yeah, well, that's it. Carol Wands has put a comment in the comment section that I know she knows that I want to read out very much so, but I won't because, you know, algorithm stuff. We're going to try not mentioning that. But Carol and everyone in the comments, you know what I'm loving. Dave Chappelle for life. So that brings us towards the end of this stream. It's been delightful to have you once again, Steph. The fan, I wanted to see the fan a bit more, Steph, to be honest. There it is.
I will be back next Thursday with more hot takes.
That's like Paul Heyman's phone is your fan. Oh, wow. Seamless and smooth, that boss. So thank you very much, Steph, once again. Can't wait to do this again with you next Thursday. You've been brilliant as always. Thank you to the guys in the comments section. Thank you for your super chats. There were so many that you kind of derailed me, man, and I loved it. So thank you very much for your opinions. It was great. Another great Wednesday of wrestling. May there be many more. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and have a good